Hey guys, it's Lori. Hope everybody can hear me better this time. I had to get a new microphone. The other one was just pitiful, but I tried. Um, just thinking of things and realizing that there's a lot of people feeling angry and depressed. Angry because they feel powerless to do anything when there's this much chaos going on. And I want you to be able to step back a little bit and say, okay, in some form, there always seems to be some kind of chaos going on anyway. It just seems really heightened right now. And for those of you that have problems with anger and you're feeling powerless, and those of you with depression or any of you, and the anger can be at any level. You get angry at a meme or a political choice or whatever. It's coming from seeing too much news, seeing too much going on in the world, and feeling powerless to do anything about it. So, what you need to do is step back and find that one thing that you really are truly impassioned about, and make yourself an advocate for that one topic. And that's it. That's all you can do. You're one person. And let everyone else do the same thing, and we will overcome this, and we will win. Everything is truly happening for our betterment. And I know that's very hard to see sometimes. And even for me, I mean, I used to be a realist until I found out that that just does not work for my life. And so now I've decided to look at everything a little differently. And I had a conversation one time with a entity, let's call him, the devil, Satan, if you will, one of them. And we were having a conversation about humans. There are other, races and stuff out there in the universe. There's only one race right here, human. There's some alien species here too, but the point is that Satans are not human, okay? They can perform in a human form, but they are not human. And he was flabbergasted at how much I love humans. And I looked at him, and he goes, why do you love them? Why do you care so much about them? And I looked at him and I said, the question is why you don't. Why don't you care for them at all? And he really had nothing to say, except to him they're pointless. They're food and fodder and something to play with, and to prove that they were unworthy of heaven, unworthy of God's love. And I said, well, if you're going to have that attitude, I said, but, can't you see that humans are the ones that, in a pinch, and there's a crisis, something big, they're the ones that come up with the new thought, the new creative thought that drives a new solution for a problem. That's who you turn to every time. So I don't understand why you can't have a symbiotic relationship with the humans. You, on one hand, are good at traditional things that always work. But when something throws a kink in there and everybody's dumbfounded, who do you turn to fix the problem? Right, you turn to a human. Because humans have this unique ability to think outside the box. No matter how many boxes you try to put them in, a human has the ability to create outside the box, to touch source, their God, however you want to call it. I call it source for short, to simplify it. All the gods are real. I'll just tell you that much. but source is the highest on high. It's everything, and it's nothing. So it's the same for us. And we've got a direct link to source. We are an integral part of source, actually. And we need to understand that that's where our creative prowess comes from. So if you find yourself depressed or angry and you're hearing these thoughts and you're getting these emotions pushed on you, and all of a sudden it turns into something bigger, stop yourself. Find a way to stop yourself. I don't care if you have to put your hand in the freezer, your head in the freezer for a minute. Whatever you got to do to stop and center yourself. You know those thoughts are not yours. The dark side, likes to feed and pressure, because their whole goal is to make you unworthy of God's love, which is a fallacy, because no matter what, you're worthy of God's love. You were loved from the time you were thought of inception in God's mind, and that's when you were forgiven of all sins. You're sent here to school to learn, and you were sent here as a unique human personality to experience certain life things that would also cause you to possibly react in certain ways. And then to get a handle on yourself and to look at it and see what the lesson is in it and grow from there. And then you were given unique gifts. We all were. Whatever that little tug is in you that pulls you, you'd like to try it or do, whether it's some kind of indoor farming or, some cottage industry, working with hemp, some fabric. Something is pulling you to a direction. Seek it out and put your heart into it and allow yourself to be happy and know that the world is changing. And maybe this is the direction you're meant to go in. What I'm trying to say is understand that the negativity that you're feeling and seeing, the fear mongering out there and the chaos, is created directly for stopping a human being from ascending. Stopping a human being from being all they can be. Because when we're in fear, we don't do anything. We're locked up. I know. I was there too. And the thing is that you're only one person. And accept that. The whole world's problems are not yours. They're all of ours. And if we would each find that one thing that we're impassioned about and become an advocate for that subject, for whatever it is, that is putting our personal service into something that we feel is very important. And it will give you self-satisfaction and fulfillment. And then if you follow that little nudge, and we all got to work, we got to pay our bills and that, but you got a little extra time here and there, especially after the kids grow up and go to college and all that. I got empty nest syndrome, and oh Lord, it was something else. However, the thing is that you can and you will find a little nudge in there that you'd like to follow through on. Follow through on it if you do it part-time. And it may grow into something bigger and better and in a different career field. One of the things that COVID lockdown did for a lot of us was force us into being alone with ourselves or, being alone with the family. But it made us think of things, because when you're pressured like that, even though it didn't seem like a harsh pressure, but it was something we were unaccustomed to. Okay, our reality was changing. And it makes us think, what is important to me? Is it family? Is it friends? Yes. Is it making a good wage and working less hours? Yes. Is it being part of the community a bit? Not the whole thing, but part of it. What can I find that would be my thing to advocate? Or what service would I like to give? Or what charity would I like to help with? But don't overdo it. Just a little bit. Let everybody do a little bit. It isn't our burden to carry. What gets me through, and these last 9 years were pretty hectic for me. I had gone through a divorce, gone through, oh my God, I hadn't worked in 10 years, so now I got to find a job, got to do this, got to do that. I was so busy making money and trying to keep everything, because that's what we do when we're middle class, we want to keep everything. Our home, our car, everything. And it was very difficult the first 7 years. I won't lie. Very difficult. And 2 Christmases, I looked at my granddaughter and I said, well, I've got $20. Let's go to the dollar store and see what we can buy for $20 and kind of make a meal. So we ended up with a little crust pizza, and a couple doodads that we really like, And she was cool with that. It was no big deal. And then I realized that day, especially that particular Christmas, that she's right. None of it's a big deal. What was a big deal is we were spending it together and laughing and cutting up, and then it was okay. Not everybody has a lot of money, and some people are working, as I was, and was barely making ends meet, being a single person. And it gets difficult. And yet you do whatever's in your power to keep going every day. And then something happens and it gets a little better. And when it leveled off, and one of my daughters helped me a great deal financially a couple times. And then again, after I retired, she did. So that I could relax for a change, which has been a phenomenal experience. Plus, I went through the dark night of the soul, so I have gone through all my traumas and tried to get myself back up on my feet where I like to be and think, okay, now I feel new. Matter of fact, I feel so new, I'm not even sure what makes me happy anymore. I'm not sure what I want to do. I'm usually an artist, a writer, and I had all these other titles: mother, grandmother, wife, girlfriend, kid. I didn't even have a dog anymore. But what I'm saying is it's possible to step back and say, hey, I can't deal with the world's problems because I don't have the power. I'm not in charge. So I'm going to step back and say, hey, I'm going to cool off. I'm going to fix something nice to eat. I'm going to sit and relax and chill, watch a movie, read a book. But then I'm going to sit there and meditate for about 15 minutes every day because I want God, my higher power, to tell me, help me find what it is in me that I really want to do right now to be of service to the world, to be of service to mankind, to be of service for myself, too. Don't let the world disrupt you. Sometimes we have to be a little selfish to get healed and to look at the things that do bother us. And kindness, as soon as kindness leaves your aura, it's time for you to sit down somewhere and behave. Take a cold shower. Take them all day long if you have to. Sit in the shower if you have to. But when you start turning mean, it's time for you to settle down and to take a good look inside. What's really bothering you? Is it the world? Or is it your failure to be kind to yourself? Because you damn well no one person can take care of anything by themselves. Barely their own lives, their own roof and livelihood. That's enough. If you can help a neighbor with something, or a family member, or even a stranger, which I don't recommend for women to do a lot of, because, it's scary out there. Use common sense. I'm all for helping people, and I believe in paying it forward. And I believe in little acts of kindness make a big difference in the world. And I also believe that if we each sat down and took a few minutes every day just to try to relax. Meditation is merely taking the five senses that you have, taste, hearing, sound, sound, smell, eyesight, and focus on your breathing. Focus on your breathing. Focus on a candle. Listen to some soft music. You want to entertain all your senses. Burn an incense so you get smell. So that your mind can quiet down. It won't immediately. It won't for a long time. It takes practice. I will tell you, though, that if you practice long enough and you start giving a little more time and a little more time to it, you will reach that moment of silence that people talk about that is so profound. There are no words for it. I've reached it a couple times, and it's profound. You know your oneness with all things and all life in that dark silence. It's beautiful. But you always come back because you have a world to live in. We were given these unique personalities and the uniqueness of these avatars, if you will, because some people like to call it a matrix, and these are our avatars, which is true in some ways. Our soul is what's real, okay? That's what's everlasting. But we pick these avatars and these characters to play. But you got to play it, and you got to play it well. And you have to learn from it. And then you have to let your soul come through and show you, now that you've learned your lessons, what do we really want to do? Find it. It's okay. It's okay to put faith in God, not man, and not the higher-ups, not the world. Put your faith in a higher power and know that you are tapped in, tuned into it. You can't not be. You just don't listen to it properly. I call it the whispers. When God talks to you, he doesn't yell, "Hey!" He does me sometimes, but not very often. But I've got a really good rapport with God. So the thing is that he talks in whispers. You'll talk to God. When you're praying and talking to God. And if you're like me in any way, shape, or form, I don't use those normal prayer things. I talk to God about things that I think about, things that I am concerned about, things I wonder about. And I will always get an answer. It will come in the form of a book, or somebody will be talking on the radio, or something on the TV, or a friend or a stranger, out and about. I always get an answer because God always listens, and he does. She gets you and the answers. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is that maybe it's time that you put your faith back where it belongs, in something bigger than you. But know that you are part of that source that's bigger than you, an integral part, an important part. There is no one that isn't important. We all play our roles down here, and then we come back in another lifetime and play them again. This, however, we're hoping is our ascension that'll be fully and completed in a few years. And it's our time to have our golden years. And that's for all humans. We never quite make it this far. This is the first time in history of humans. So sit back, relax, talk to God again. But this time, instead of wanting everything or ask for guidance, and then be willing to listen for the whispers. Go ahead and meditate 15 minutes a day. All it is deep breathing. You'll never calm the mind. When you notice you get stuck on a thought, just recognize it. It'll go away, but another one will pop up. That's how it works. But focus on your deep breathing. Eventually, someday, you will hit that space of utter silence. And it is the most beautiful experience you'll ever have. I always recommend somebody doing it. Not many people do. But it is worth it. And I've had the Holy Spirit come down and cradle me. And when I gave myself to the Holy Spirit. And it is the most astounding experience. I recommend it for everybody too. It isn't like you see in some places where, they're, and the preacher says one or two words and they pass out. It's not like that at all. Matter of fact, you're wide awake. Because the Holy Spirit doesn't want you to be knocked out when He comes into you. He wants you to feel it. He wants you to feel the love, unconditional love. And I've got a lot of stories, and I can tell you all of them, but not tonight. Tonight I was concerned about, I saw someone extremely angry today and yelling at a very innocent person. And it's someone that that person actually loves. But because he is so lost in his own powerlessness, he's lashing out. And I found it to be incredibly horrible. And I went and talked to the person that he had yelled at, and she seemed okay. But nobody in these harsh times, chaotic times, needs to be yelled at. Nobody. And if you've got an anger problem, stop yourself. Put your finger in ice, whatever you got to do. But you stop yourself and you sit down. Pour the ice water over your head. Do whatever you have to do to stop. Because you don't have any rights to take it out on anyone. It is something that is confused inside of you. Get a good shrink. Meditate and talk to God. During my hardest times, I always lean on Source extremely hard because you're falling apart. And you got to have God. You got to have that higher power. Because it will cradle you and it will help show you your wrongs, which you don't want to see, but you've got to see them. And will help you find a different perspective. It will help you purge all the negativity out of you. It will also help you see reality with a clear mind. And when clarity comes, compassion comes out, empathy and compassion and love. And that's what's important right now. And after my conversation with Satan, I decided that, you know what? I'm going to prove to you that we are worthy of love, even though, don't worry, God always loves us anyway. But to them, because they seem so hell-bent that we are not. Because, who's in the biggest industries to hurt you? Things that we tend to fall back on when we're depressed or lonely or scared. So, you really want to cater to all that. And I'm not putting anything down. Anything in moderation is fine. Just ease up. Start loving yourself enough to ease up on whatever it is that your vice is, whatever it is that's causing you pain, and deal with the pain. Because I'll tell you something, I am one person who would never allow anyone to know that they hurt me or hurt my feelings ever, even from a child, many lifetimes actually. And when I had to walk through that pain, it hurt so bad. But it was only for a minute or two. Think you can handle a minute or two of pain? I think so. Walk through the pain and let it go. Heal yourself. get a good therapist. I like a hypnotherapist because they can take you through regression work. Because a lot of our blocks and a lot of our uh, unknown reasoning to certain things, it doesn't make any sense to you, and you go over it and over it like a hamster wheel. Stop the hamster wheel. Stop. Oh, my Lord. I went through that too. And it had nothing to do with this lifetime. It had everything to do with past lifetimes and Satan. So, what I'm saying is, God loves you just the way you are. What God wants you to do, though, is heal. That's what He hopes you will do. Heal yourself. Get healthy. Become vibrant. And become the co-creator to your world that you're supposed to be. The law of attraction and all the other laws, there are many. There's 50 particular ones. You should look them up. But those are the laws of the universe, how it works here. Look them up, the 50 laws of the universe, and read them. They'll go really well with whatever religion you have. I don't want to knock religions, but I do want you to incorporate some things that will give your religion more depth and meaning again. And that they are all good religions. They're just missing some of the truth. So, look into other religions too. Quietly and peacefully. Not with an attitude. None of them are the one way to God. There is no one way to God. There are many roads to God. And that's what you need to accept first. And then look into them. I use a little of everything from Buddhist, Hindu, Jewish, whatever you call it, and Christian, and Native American, and indigenous people from around the world, and other realms. So, and paganism. I look for all the good things. Start looking for good things in everything. And if you can't find a good thing, then get down on your hands and knees and you talk to God until you can find one. Because something's wrong if you can't find something good. If it's the breath you're taking or the sky you're seeing or the daffodil. I prefer, dandelions, but I like all plants and everything, and all animals, for the most part. But anyway, the whole point being is that put yourself back into grace so that you can love again. We all get hurt, and it hurts. And we're all depressed at times, and it sucks. But depression, there's a psychiatrist that's on YouTube a lot. I don't want to mess up his name. I think his name's Gabe. Anyway, he's real good. And next time I'm on, I'll list his name properly. But depression it's pressured down emotions. So I know men that were taught not to cry. Hell, I was taught not to cry. And then I was, all of a sudden my dad was like, oh, let it out, And on big things I did. But on the 1,000,001 little things that I took as a child, and there was a lot of trauma in my childhood. And a lot of screaming and hollering and meanness. And the thing is that we pressure it down, but it never leaves us. And there comes a point in time where your body and your soul is going to say, stop. And you're going to find yourself alone. Doing what? You're lost now. You don't know what to do. And you don't like what's happening. That's because your soul and your body can't take it no more. And they said, hey, clean this out. Clean this out. You got to look at this. You got to face it, clean it out so we can get going and do something new again. Because we're always meant to evolve. And it's not easy. And it's not fun. But it doesn't take that long. I seem to take incredibly long because I am incredibly stubborn. Incredibly stubborn. And I've decided to try to use it for good things instead of, hurting myself with denial and stuff like that. But I just wanted to say that it is horrible out there. Turn off the TV, turn off the YouTubes, turn off whatever you got to turn off to find some peace. And leave it off for a while. I quit watching TV 20 some odd years ago. I get enough of it on Facebook, or sometimes I'll look up the weather and some of the news on YouTube. But not every day. Matter of fact, not even every week. Because I can't do anything about it. I can vote, and vote correctly if I can. Somewhat knowledgeable if I can, And, but the thing is that find one thing that you can become an advocate for, so that you feel satisfaction that you have done something for the greater good of all, and that was enough, so that you're not yelling at the people you love, and you're not angry all the time and frustrated and a mess. And I don't know, there just is so much to look forward to. There always is. There's always a new dawn to look forward to. Start creating it now, the way you'd like it to be, by changing who you are inside. Change your perceptions. It's okay. Our perceptions worked for so long, but they don't work anymore, because those perceptions and those way of living and thinking and doing, those were created on necessity for protection and to continue going. COVID helped us take a break. I loved it. I was like, oh yeah. But I shopped a lot online. It was great. And but it also made me think, and it made me reevaluate who I was and who I wanted to be. And I want to be somebody new. And it's taken me a while to do it. For one thing, I was too frustrated making a living. And I've since retired. And it has helped a little bit. And then my daughter made it a lot easier on me, so I'm happy. And I figured I could find some things to talk about and maybe help somebody. That's why we call it A Voice in the Dark here on YouTube. Lori Elliot. And spiritscrossing.net. And there's always in the description 800 numbers around the United States for any kind of help you might need. And just stop and deep breathe. 15 minutes at a time. 10 minutes, 5 minutes. At least take 3 deep breaths. And feel yourself relax. Now, when you deep breathe, I mean you deep breathe through the belly. You bring the belly up, not those shallow breaths in the chest, the belly. And slow, but it has to be comfortable. You can't do it uncomfortable. It must be comfortable. And what else? Make a little peaceful place in your home. Whether it's the whole home or your room or a spare room you got, you kids are gone, you can redo it. Somewhere where you can go and be alone with your God, your source. And allow yourself to be vulnerable with the one entity in the whole universe, which is the whole universe. The one entity that you can feel safe with. And you can be vulnerable. You can cry. And you will feel that unconditional love wrap around you and hold you. A lot of people have trouble doing that with others. Do it with God. And believe. Have faith. In times like this, it's faith and a new goal. A new goal for what you would really like to do. What inside of you wants to do something, has wanted to do something. You know, maybe you wanted to learn how to cook because you've been a carpenter all your life, or, you know, maybe you wanted to learn how to sew and make garments because, you know, you worked on Wall Street all your life. I mean, whatever it is, it'll be different than what you really do. Or it might be kind of similar, but not quite the same, you know. Find it and indulge yourself in something you love to do. Take care of your responsibilities. That's part of life. But indulge yourself in something that makes you happy. And freedom is yours. That's what freedom is. Ascension is just in the mind. Ascension in the matrix, they call them. The matrix. And get out of the matrix, get out of the matrix. The matrix is just the box that the world tried to put you in. And what you're seeing in the world is us struggling to get out of that damn box. So get out of the box. Do it gracefully. Do it with responsibility. Do it slowly so you're comfortable and you feel safe. Talk to your spouse or your friend that you feel you can trust and be vulnerable with. And go to the gym and work out when you're feeling really angry. But do not open your mouth and take it out on people. Or glare at them. I used to do that a lot, glare. That was horrible. Road rage thing. I was bad about it. So I'm sorry, anybody out there that I might have, glared at. Find some peace, because it's worth it. And find something that makes you smile every day. You look for the good things, because as many of those bad things that we're seeing out there, there are 10 to the 10th power more good things going on. So look for them. If you've got a subject particular in politics that, they're him-hawing about or whatever, and you've got an attitude towards something, research it. Research all of it, though. Not just your one tunnel vision. Research all of it. And see all the good that's really been going on. They don't tell us the good stuff on the news. They don't tell us anything good anymore. We have to rely on people that are out there, like you and me, other human beings that care, that give a damn, and they're out there looking, and they're doing things. And we need to look for those people, and we need to encourage them, support them, and learn from them, and become like they are. Not what they're doing, but the attitude of how they're doing it. The attitude, the perception. Let's put life back into life again. We can do it one person at a time, one day at a time. And if you need any help, I wrote a book, Today's Intention, by Lori Elliot. It's they sell it on Amazon, the hard copy. Looks like this. But it's just feeling better one day at a time. If you're having trouble finding a way to be positive when you get up in the morning and you need your day to go the right way, this gives you 90 days of a different intention every day. And then there's a question at the end of your day. And it's to help you tune into your own feelings for the day so that you get used to that. And you get used to feeling those feelings and thinking, wow, you know, and that came from this thought. And, you know, I don't really like that thought. Or, wow, that came from this. I feel pretty good about that. We are becoming a better human one day at a time. Um, it's it's time. It's an idea whose time has come, and I got that off of Paul Williams. He did Das Energize, a good book. You should look it up. And when an idea's time has come, it is to enliven us, to enrich us, to wake us up and say, hey, I'm alive and I'm doing fine. Thanks, God, for thinking of me. I think Leonard Skinner did a song similar to that. Or, yeah, one of them. I'm sure one of you will tell me about it. I wanted to thank everyone for the support and for the donations and everything. It's been a real help. I got my new mic, so hopefully that really helped. And I am going to start putting a little more effort daily into this now that I can, and that I am feeling pretty good anymore in these days. So that's the other thing. It's time to feel good. So do the work. It only takes a couple minutes of pain for each, whatever the scenarios are. Get through them. Get through the lessons. The lessons, by the way, are about how you allowed a situation to happen, or how you didn't because you couldn't help it. You had no power because you might have been a child. And then when you became adult, because childhood trauma can almost be complicated, but it's not. It's real simple. We were too small to do anything about it, but now we're big enough to go back and look at it and see how, because we weren't able to deal with it, it kind of caused us to be a different person, you know, and choose some, you know, probably bad roads or what we consider a bad choice, and wondering, why do I keep doing this? Get with the program, figure it out, get a good therapist. And I like to self-help a lot, so get out there and self-help yourself too. Allow yourself to be selfish enough right now to take enough time that it takes to go inward, seek and find, clear out and purge, get closer to God, and get your faith back. Because in these times, He's always ready to show you that He's there. But you have to have faith, and you have to look for the whispers. And once you get close enough to Him, He'll even yell at you once in a while. Anyway, Lori out. Have a good night, and I hope this helps somebody. Have a good night. Bye.